Hello everyone, JR here, and I'm here to give you guys another update. So, we are in the process of making a film. One of the reasons why you keep seeing so many different clips of Azorai being uploaded to this channel is because that is part of the process. Of course, for those of you who are Patreon or Nexus subscribers, you get to see a lot of the footage that is not available yet to the public. Now, some of these clips will remain subscriber exclusive, but some of these clips will also be used in the movie itself. So yes, we are in the process of making a film. Of course, making a film is very tough work, and especially from an editing perspective, it is a lot of work. However, I will say that this whole process with JR Prudence and JRP UAP research has been quite a learning experience. You'd be surprised what you can learn when you put your heart and your passion towards something. And that in itself can unlock all kinds of doorways, all kinds of opportunities in itself. So something that I would strongly say to everyone out there, this is not just about UFOs or something like that. This is much more. The idea of UAP exposes that there is more, that life is not only about paying taxes or, just being inside of the system and to just live and die within it and within the ideas and beliefs that are circling within it. The idea that I always hope to get across with everything that I've been sharing here is to inspire people that there is more. And if you really put your heart, your mind, and your effort towards that, then who knows what you'll be able to achieve. And that's what definitely happened here. I could tell you with all of the experiences that I had back in 2010, I never imagined that I would be able to do what I'm doing right now. But alas, when you never give up, especially on love, especially on your heart, you'd be really surprised what you can actually find out there. So yeah, guys, we are in the process of making a film. Might probably be about an hour to an hour and a half. We'll have to see how it goes in the editing room. But right now, it's a matter of curation of the footage. So a lot of the clips that are being uploaded here is also to curate and to see and to understand what's the best responses and whatnot. Because by this point, we have, thousands of photos, of videos, of stills. There's so much data to work with across 9 different cameras. And even my phone is included in this at this point because we've been able to get, so much footage across, so many different times and weather conditions, lighting conditions and whatnot. So in terms of the data, it's very rock solid what we have there. But like I said, making a film is a large undertaking. So I definitely appreciate all of the support that you guys have given. I really appreciate all the love that we have received from this channel and all of the people that really believe in this project, really believe in JRP UAP research. I thank you very much for that. That is really, really, really nice. But again, like I said, a film is tough work. But nevertheless, the idea of the film will be, of course, to explain what the Azorai are, the type of experiences that I've had, the experiences that other people within the JRP community have, if some of you might be interested in speaking as well. And we want to tie that together. Also, my wife might have something to say as well on that. And we want to tie that into the larger picture of life as a whole, because the idea that life should be so limited and that we shouldn't think or venture outside of Plato's cave is not something I agree with. I believe that we should go outside of Plato's cave. We might not have a map to do so, but it could be something fun to explore and the new experiences. Something that happened to me in my 20s into my early 30s is that you fill your brain with all this knowledge from science, from the occult, from different forms of beliefs, of ideas, of politics. You get very informed, and it makes you believe or makes you think that you know so much, especially if the lingo of the particular doctrine or ideology that you're studying tends to trigger certain responses in you that might be favorable towards a certain bias, especially if you might have grown up in a certain way. But something I came to realize, which was I like to call it a bit of a holy enlightening, is that I think humility is probably the best way of putting this. But when you're really humble, I think that's when you really get true wisdom. And I think true wisdom is something that is beyond book knowledge. And this is coming from an author. Not to say, I don't want to say that to say, okay, well, you shouldn't buy any books at all. But what I'm saying is that true wisdom cannot be found in books, and it cannot be found in transient knowledge that outdates. I'd like to use an example with fish. There was a Japanese professor, and if you guys are really interested, I also posted this on the Nexus as well. But there was a Japanese professor who said that fish are self-aware. And of course, a lot of scientists laughed at him. And, there's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of harassment that he went through. This happens a lot in science, by the way. Someone might make a claim and then they get harassed, they get attacked. It's pretty bad. You might think that was just in Galileo's time, but that's still ongoing even now. Anyways, this Japanese scientist, who lost his voice, by the way, it was very interesting, but he gave a voice to the fish. And the idea that, humans have, because humans tend to view things within very limited lens of, okay, well, a dolphin can have relative consciousness, or a chimpanzee or something like that. And the idea of fish having self-awareness or consciousness was not really something people thought of. They only thought of it at best as maybe instinctual consciousness. But it turns out that they actually do have self-awareness, and in some cases even quicker than younger humans. And I would strongly suggest you guys look up his research. It's really wonderful. But the reason why I bring that up too is because of how much he strove towards his dream and his passion, and ironically for somebody who lost his voice, to give voice to a species that people overlooked. And what I do here with J.R. Prudence is I want to expose these human inadequacies that we have in order to move ahead further as a human race and as a human society, that we have more respect for nature, for not just animals, but life and existence outside what we think we know and what we think we understand. Because humans have models and methods that we kind of filter things through and just say, oh, well, it has to pass through this in order for things to be real or to be intelligent according to human standards. But human standards have been notoriously and confidently wrong. I mean, there's several examples: Galileo, women's rights, slavery, meteors falling out of the sky. It sounds funny now that, you would think, oh, well, meteors falling out of the sky, that's pretty normal, right? But back then in the 1800s, scientists laughed at you. Just like the idea that time was absolute based on Newton's understanding of space and time. And Newton admittedly did not have a very good understanding of time. And then along came this Jewish scientist, Einstein, who basically said, no, time is relative. And of course, it was heresy at the time, and he was viciously attacked and slandered. And it's just the way how it goes, right? I mean, I'm really hoping that we change that someday, because general consensus has been horribly wrong and is still wrong about many things even to this day. And part of the work, or I should better say the hope that I hope to do here, is to change that we don't necessarily have to wait until it's too late. We don't have to wait until people are slandered and traumatized to make a difference. Even with like hospitals and stuff, like it was laughed at to wash your hands. If I'm not mistaken, they even got the guy committed who was trying to speak out against that at the time. So we have to think about that even in our modern day age, and that's still occurring even now, which I find quite disturbing. So it is my hope too with this film that it will inspire that, and it will inspire you as well, because that's what I mainly want to do here, and that's why I share this. I share this not for clout, not for attention to myself. That's also why I avoided making these videos, but I do believe that the human connection with this is important too. And as far as the work with the Azori go, the Azori are deeply inspiring to me. because their presence just is kind of a reminder that, hey, there's more. You don't need to know every single nitty gritty. You don't need a perfect cosmology or something like that, but you can just embrace the fact that there is more, that possibility exists. Sometimes, indeed, imagination can take people to places maybe a little too far. Agreed. But just the idea of exploring more, I think, is a great concept that we should definitely explore for sure. So that is one of the hopes with this film, that I hope that it will inspire. And if you're interested, head over to the J.R. Prudence website, head over to the Nexus section. There's a lot there that is not shown here on YouTube, on this particular channel, or even on the public section. There's a lot going on there. We have a really wonderful community as well. Big shout out to the J.R. Prudence community. We have some really wonderful people there, I have to say, for sure. So I'll see you guys next time, and this was just an update. Take care.